bite my shiny metal ass. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Tell Me About Your Damn Book. I'm your host, Stephen Lomer, and my guest this week, I refer to him as the King of Cons, or maybe King Con. That might actually be a
I like the King Con.
Yeah, but not
that.
con in a negative sense. Not like he's not pulling a con job. You're not, are you? You're not pulling a con job.
Absolutely not.
I mean conventions. Con short for conventions. Either way, please help me welcome my bald brother, Chris Paniccia. All right, so let's talk a little bit about you. So you were born in Providence, and you currently live in Rhode Island?
Yeah, I was actually born in Providence, Rhode Island,
Okay.
and lived much of my life in East Providence, Rhode Island, up until junior high.
Is that the wrong side of the tracks?
No, well, when my parents decided they were going to move to Rehoboth, Massachusetts,
Oh.
and when they did, I went to high school at Dighton Rehoboth Regional High, and DR as they call it, and then after coming in the military and returning home from the military, it just decided that North Providence was a great school system, was a great place to raise a family. Mm-hmm. So that's where we chose to come back to. So we've been there ever since.
Okay. Now let's talk about the big stuff, the convention circuit. My goodness, man! If you have been to any conventions, any sci-fi conventions, any pop culture conventions, any pipe fitter conventions, you've probably seen this man set up, because just off the top of my head, you've done New York multiple times.
Yes.
New York Comic Con, Baltimore.
I just
Comic-Con.
came back from Baltimore. Yeah.
You've probably done Boston.
I've done Boston a number of different times. Yes.
Rhode Island Comic Con. You're doing that this year.
Rhode Island, which is my hometown.
Rhode Island, yeah.
I do that every year.
So you don't have to drive 2.5 hours
I know.
to get to that, which is nice. Where did that all start? What was the first con for you, and what was the draw for you?
Well, believe it or not, I've been in the comic industry for the last 25 years. My cousin is actually a senior editor in New York, and he's been sending me different work for the last 25 years in the freelance style. I've done pencil, I've done ink, I've done color, but for the most part now, because of my writing, I've been doing storyboard work. Mm-hmm. For them. And then my daughters are getting to the point where they're much older. I have 3 daughters. They're lovely young ladies, but they're getting older, so I actually am finding I have a little bit more time on my hands so that I can actually write for myself now, rather than writing or doing other projects for other people. So once I started getting my own books going, I actually became a part of ARIA, which is the Association of Rhode Island Authors.
Okay.
And once I got involved in that and was able to talk to a lot of authors like you, mm-hmm. and find out what really works for us, building our brand and getting our books out there to other people. For me as a sci-fi fantasy author, it's just the Comic-Cons. The Comic-Cons are our vehicle to build our brand, get out there, share with people. And not only that, it's become a community. Mm-hmm. Each con I go to, even though it might not be here in Rhode Island, when I was out at Worldcon in San Jose, California,
that's right.
I can't even tell you how many people from the East Coast were part of the con.
Is that right?
And so it is. It's you're literally building a community. And having that support of all those people that are in the same boat as you, mm-hmm. it not only boosts your confidence, but it gives you that added incentive to say, hey, listen, you know what? I can do it, but I want to help others too. Mm-hmm. I want to talk to people about what I do. I want to share what I do, and I want other people to be able to do this as well.
Sure, yeah. So when was your first one? Do you recall when your first one was? Or
actually, my first con was Rhode Island Comic Con.
Is that right?
I don't know, maybe 6 years ago.
Okay. And then you just jumped on that train?
Then it just took off from there. Because being an author and an illustrator, I can do both. Mm-hmm. I can have all my artwork, but at the same time, I can have my books available. And that's a little bit different than most people when they go to Comic-Cons. You either have the artist, or you have an illustrator, or you have an author, but being able to do both allows me to be able to kind of bridge the gap, so to speak, and be able to kind of have that community support of everyone, artists, authors, all together.
Yep. And would you mind sharing with us your craziest con story?
Well, I have to tell you, the craziest con story for me is actually out at Worldcon, because I worked for them, and I was doing marketing. And so I'm doing all the stuff on Facebook, I'm doing all the stuff on Instagram, and getting it marketed out there. And then people are coming in and they're setting things up. And then I see all these people walking by the convention center and they're going somewhere else. And I asked them, I says, do you guys know that this Worldcon, it's right here. Like, this is like the grandfather of all cons.
Yeah.
They're like, there's a Comic-Con this weekend? I'm like, you gotta be flipping kidding. I spent a year on Facebook and Instagram and trying to do different things to market this. Come to find out, they didn't actually market it in San Jose. I'm like, you have this awesome Comic-Con, and you guys, because my job was to market outside. My job was to, I'm like, wow. So no one knew we were there.
Wow.
So literally for the whole weekend, we were out there kind of like bringing people in, to get them to know. So we were doing it kind of the old-fashioned way, handing out leaflets.
Yeah, the flyers.
And trying to get trying to get folks to come in. I mean, and it worked out well and everything, but that was really interesting for me, because you go to some of these larger cons and they've done crazy mad marketing to get people in the door. I mean, you go to New York Comic Con and it is literally stacked full of people.
Oh yeah.
I mean, when I was in Artist Alley last year, literally in my corridor, nobody could move. Like for 2 hours, they were stuck there and nobody could move. So it's marketing for us is very important, and having people show up to the cons is even more important.
Right.
And I think a lot of people sit there and they say, well, are we saturating the market? I don't believe that's the case. I think what you have to do is you have to be able to schedule it strategically.
Right.
Because you and I have been to some cons where we've been up against other cons.
Yes, we have.
And because of that, your audience has been split. So that affects sales, that affects people who are coming to a con, or they might want to come see you as an author, but then again, they might want to go to another con.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. And of course, I have to ask this question. I know personally, as a good-looking bald author, it's the women just rush you and they harass you all weekend long. It's very tough. How do you handle it?
I just have a big, wide table.
Oh,
so
that's the plan?
So I can keep
okay,
that
so you
distance.
keep them at bay with the wide table. That's actually a good idea. I'll have to try that next time. Although, you know what? I don't mind it so much. It's not so bad. It's not such a bad life.
No, but I was at Scaricon, and this lovely young lady, she was all dressed up as a cool little Joker, and she wanted to come up and grab my book and everything, and she's like, will you take a picture with me? I'm like, absolutely. So I mean, it's just the cutest thing when you see some of the the younger cosplay kids that come up and they have these great looks to them, but they're so into it. Yeah. And they're like, I love your book and this, that, and the other thing, but will you take a picture with me? Of course I'll take a picture with you, absolutely.
$20.
And then when you get to the older cosplay folks, and of course, some of these the costumes and the things that they wear, they actually fit into my fantasy series and stuff. So I've actually been able to get a few of the cosplay and a few of the models to model for me, so that I can put them on the covers or on the back covers, or do some illustrations.
Nice. For
the story. So yeah, it's kind of, we get back to that community aspect where you get to know people and you get to know what they do and what they like, and then for me as an author, and people see my covers or they see my books, they're like, hey, I know that. Or, I know that cosplay person, or I know that model, or
Right.
I've been a part of that, and it makes me feel good. And of course, then they'll turn around and they'll market you too.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. We have to step away for a moment, but we will be right back, so stay tuned. Welcome back to Tell Me About Your Damn Book. I'm your host, Stephen Lomer, and I'm here with Dave Bautista's stunt double. And as you may notice, we have a book between us, and you can see his real name right down there, and you can see this title right here. Tell me about your damn book.
So Heaven's Gate, which is actually book 1 of the Haven series.
Okay.
I'm a big Ancient Aliens person.
Okay.
So I just studying it and learning all about everything that I can possibly learn about it. Young man gets a journal from his grandfather, finds out it's got magical properties to it. He's got to find out how to decode the journal. As soon as he decodes the journal, he finds out about the magic. And he also finds out, unlocking this magic, that he finds that there's an ancient alien civilization that's been here on the planet that has never left, that he needs to get together with, basically to save the world, this particular planet, and others. And the more research I did, the more I found that I couldn't do like a trilogy. Like my first set of books was a trilogy, and it was great and could tie them all together, but there's so much research based on what's happening now with the ancient aliens that it's near impossible to put it in just a few books. So
Sure.
it's a 10-book series.
Oh, no kidding.
And book 2 is called Rise, and that will actually be out in a couple of weeks.
Oh, very exciting.
And book 3 is almost done being written, because there's just so much, and being able to kind of keep it together. My daughter's made fun of me because I actually have I'm an old-time storyboarder, so I actually put my cards down the hallway, and I have all my stories, mapped out on index cards. So they're making fun of me. They're like, "Dad, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Don't touch them. Don't move. Don't step anywhere. Don't touch them."
We have a segment on the show called The Five. You know about The Five?
I don't know about the 5.
Okay, so The Five, in season 1 of Tell Me About Your Damn Book, we had questions from the Great Unwashed. That was when we got questions from social media, and it was a shit show. It was just, you can't even believe some of the questions we used to get. So we have standardized it to the same 5 questions that we ask every author who comes on.
Okay.
Tell me about your damn book. So I will ask you the 5, and feel free to pass or refuse to answer. Whatever works for you, it works for me. Ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Question 1. If they published an author's yearbook today and you were in it, what would you be voted most likely to do?
I mean, if you think about, that type of stuff, like in high school and everything, like, I wouldn't be the class clown.
Okay.
I might be the class president. I was the class treasurer.
Okay.
So, I'll take your money. No
Sure.
problem.
Sure, yeah.
But, in terms of, published works and stuff like that, it's kind of just, I fall into that category where I can do both.
Nice. Okay. Not voted most likely to shave your head?
Well, like you said, that's something that kind of already happens. So
Yeah.
it is. It's
Right,
kind of
that's
tough
true.
because you sit there and you say, well, yeah, it could be that.
It could be that.
Or most likely to have a goatee.
Oh, yeah.
I would say
there
that.
you go.
Yeah,
Sure.
okay, most
sure.
likely to have a goatee
Okay.
because you got to have a little bit of facial hair there.
Oh, yeah. Otherwise you look a mess. All right, question 2. Which 4 faces would appear on your author's Mount Rushmore?
I would say Tolkien,
Okay.
C.S. Lewis,
Okay.
this might be odd for people, but Stephen King.
Okay.
And the final author for me is kind of a toss-up because I would have to say George R.R. Martin.
Okay. That is a solid Mount Rushmore. Question 3. What's something about you that, if revealed, would surprise and amaze those who know you best? This is my second favorite question.
Honestly, I'd have to say, because my daughters really kind of approached this, because they never knew how much of a nerd their dad was.
Really?
They really didn't.
You kept that from them?
It's just, they saw their dad as a football player. They saw their dad, as a military guy. They saw their dad as a straightforward, professor, focusing on family and stuff like that. And then as, the books kind of started to take off, and they knew I was an artist and everything, but because I was able to do the books and then start ramping up the illustrations again, all of a sudden they're like, and I took them to cons, and they're like, holy crap, my dad's a nerd. Like, what? So as they grew older, they started going less and less with me. And they're like, Dad, no, that's your thing. Dad,
right.
You go.
Right.
You go. No,
they didn't pick up the gene.
No. So they're like, so I would definitely say that.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Fair enough. That's a good one. Question 4. What is your favorite curse word, and in what phrase would you be most likely to use it?
I'm a military guy. I curse all the time.
Okay.
And honestly, my daughters make fun of me all the time because they're like, Dad, just let it out. Just say it. I know you want to say it. But it's just, I don't know. It's like F-bombs. It's F-bombs all the time.
Okay.
So it is. And as a teacher and everything, I try to be careful with what I say at home with the kids. Try to be careful with what I say, but I'm sorry, the F-bombs are always going off.
Okay.
That's probably, really it.
And is there a variation on the F-bomb that is more frequent than others? Mother effer.
Mother effer, yeah. Yeah, is definitely the one that pops up the most.
Okay. All right. Okay. Good to know. And question 5, if the world ended right after this video, what final message would you want to convey to your fans?
Buy my damn book.
So your last message, your fans are about to be wiped off the face of the planet, and you want them to buy your damn book.
How about read my damn book?
I don't know if they're going to have time. How about thanks for reading my book?
Obviously with the fans and everything, we really enjoy going out to see them, and that's why I spend so much time at Comic-Cons. I mean, I really love the face-to-face. For me to be able to hand somebody a book and sign it for them, and it's that personal connection for me is really, really important. So yes, thanking my author, thanking the other authors, thanking my fans, thanking people who have helped me get to this point. Yes, that's all very, very important to me. But it's just having that book in your hand. Mm-hmm. I know for a while ebooks were getting up here and everything, but then people came back to actually taking the book in their hands and having that book in their hands, and there's really nothing like it.
There really is nothing like it. You're absolutely right. So, all right, well, I guess that's all the time we have for this episode of Tell Me About Your Damn Book. I'd like to thank my guest, Christopher Paniccia. The book is Heaven's Gate. It's available on Amazon.com.
It's available on Amazon. You can go on my website at www.cpaniccia.com. It's on Draft to Digital, which if you do like the ebooks and everything, you can get them pretty much on any outlet with the Draft to Digital. So yeah, it's available all times. And of course, if you want to email me or what have you, at cpaniccia@bridge-rain.org and get yourself a signed copy. Please definitely email me. I'd love to talk to you about the book, and make sure you get yourself a signed copy.
There you go. Thanks, everybody. Cheers.
Thank you.